Hey everybody, Jeffrey Powers here with another Wirecast 6 tutorial. Today I'm going to show you using a GoPro as your main camera source in creating some of your videos on Wirecast. So, first of all, Jeffrey Powers here. You can find me at Geekazine, Think Magazine, put in a geek, and you go from there. Now, look at this. This is a pretty good shot. I mean, you got me. I'm waist high. It's a pretty good shot. I can move my hands. Not too much distortion, but this isn't the actual shot of the GoPro. I mean, this is coming from the GoPro, but it's not the actual shot of the GoPro. Here, let me do this. Let me actually reset the camera to the actual position. This is what you would see if you just did a basic GoPro shot. And of course, GoPro is a little camera, a little sport camera you can use to hook up to your surfboard, hook up to your skateboard or your car or whatever, and get some good video. But it does have the ability to actually hook up via HDMI going through and get into your computer, so you can use it for Wirecast. So this is a perfect overall shot. So if I was in, let's say, a hall or something like that, and I wanted to get an overall shot of the crowd, this is what the camera, I'd probably put it over the door or something like that, maybe right behind the speaker, and get a good fisheye shot of everybody. But once again, it's a fisheye shot. Now, Wirecast doesn't have any functionality to straighten out this shot. If you actually recorded the video through GoPro and you use the GoPro software, it can actually fix the fisheye lens. That's this curvature that you see on the sides, because that little device right there, it isn't curvy, and of course the curtains aren't curvy as well. So you kind of see, and of course it gives you a bigger shot. Instead of seeing this type of frame, you see this much frame. So you see my production lights, and you see a little bit of the clutter that's around here. Definitely tells me I do have to do some cleaning after this and go from there. Now let me tell you a little bit about the GoPro Hero really quick and how I have it set up. And I'm going to do it simple by diagram here. As you can see, I have a GoPro Hero 4 Black, which can do up to 120 frames a second in 1080p, which is really nice. And it's going into my Blackmagic Intensity Pro device. That then sends that's through HDMI. It then sends a FireWire signal to my MacBook, in which is where I'm using Wirecast to do this. And so that's the basic pattern of here. Now, in order to do that, you need to get a cable, a special cable or adapter that will let you hook up an HDMI cable into the mini cable that GoPro uses. Now, the cable that I have also, it kind of takes up a lot of space. So I cannot hook up a extra power source to my GoPro. So I have the battery on here, which I've been recording. I've been doing this for about 5-10 minutes now, and it's still at 3 bars, but I would guess doing about an hour's worth of just sitting here standby will probably knock down that battery really quick. I would guess you'd have about 15-20 minutes before the battery dies. So we'll see what happens. So towards the end of this video, I might have to find a way to finish this up before things go. So, but bottom line is I couldn't hook up an extra power source to it because of the cable that I had. There might be some cables out there that will allow you to do that. So it will, you can hook up an external battery so you can get more time out of it, so you can hook it up in the door and go from here. The other thing that I'm using this Galileo by Motrr, which is a device. Of course, I can't show you that. It's a little gimbal, so I can actually control via the iPad. So I can turn this to the left, as you can see, or I can turn it to the right, just to give me extra video movement or whatever. And of course, it's all being controlled by the iPad right here. So it's kind of fun. And I can then once again I can put it up in the rafters, and then I can control it. I can turn things if we need to see more to the right or need to see more to the left or whatnot. So, all right. So we have the setup. Like I said, it's set up like this. I've got the GoPro going to the Blackmagic Intensity Pro Extreme Pro that goes into my MacBook Pro. Now we're here. Let's bring up the Wirecast here, and I'm gonna bring up the scene, which is right here. So we'll edit the shot. Here's the scene, and we'll get a closer shot of that really quick. So this is editing FaceTime with the camera. I've got that set up. The intensity extreme, you have to do some changes. So you basically have to go up to your sources. You got to go to your source settings. And inside here, you got to choose your intensity extreme. And whereas most of my cameras run at 1080i 5994, this one runs at 1080p 2997. Now, that could be different depending on which GoPro camera you have, because they have older versions that don't do 1080p. So you'll probably have to play with the settings, but with the Hero 4 Black, 1080p 29.97 frames per second. And of course, I chose to de-interlace the video, so you'll be able, I won't have any of those weird lines going through here. Now, setup on the GoPro needs to be done as well. So basically what you would do is you would hold down the settings, and then you would walk through it. The big settings is there was a display right up on top and bottom. You have to turn that display off in the settings. The other thing is you want to turn off basically what turns off, automatic turn off, shut off of the Hero 4, so it doesn't shut off, so you can go 20-30 minutes without it shutting down and moving from there. If you flip from camera to video, you'll see a difference. There'll be a 4:3 as opposed to a 16:9. I have this set up for camera, so we've got a nice full 16:9. If you do 4:3, it'll actually be a little bit shorter. So it might work in some instances, especially when you're zooming. You have to zoom up on a specific area, because the more you zoom, the more it's actually going to start to blur and look a little bit grainy as you go from there. But with this distance, and this distance, I'd say it's about 2.5, about 2 feet away from me. And this is a pretty good distance. This is great if I had to do some close quarter recording, like a podcast or something like that, and I don't have that much room. Usually my camera is about 3.5 feet away from me in most instances. So if I want 1 or 2 feet away, I can actually have that pull up, or actually also move it around, take it off the gimbal and go from there. So, but basically what we want to do is we want to take this video and we want to, zoom in a little bit, get rid of some of this stuff that you don't normally see in the video. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go in the Intensity Pro and we're going to do the zoom function like this. Now, the fisheye function, you're just going to have to deal with the fisheye function, because there is nothing in Wirecast that lets you do fisheye. If you've got a third-party program that will help with that, you can definitely use that. But the bottom line is there is no fisheye correction program in Wirecast. Maybe down the road they'll put something in there. And of course, Mac and PC, when it comes to effects between both, they differ. So you might have something on the PC where you don't have it on the Mac, and I haven't really tested it on the PC side to go from there. So now I've zoomed myself in. So it looks pretty decent. I could actually do a little bit more before graining starts to get in. And of course, it all depends on how I'm set up. Let's, whoops, going the wrong way there. Let's bring me up into shot and zoom in a little bit more. So we'll do that, and then I'll zoom in just a touch bit more. So now it looks like I'm about a foot or two away, and you got a pretty good shot from there. So I'm going to close that out. We're going to go back to the main shot. There's the main shot right here. So as you can see, I'm a couple feet away. I can have a very good conversation with you, and my video doesn't look too grainy. What I'm going to do, whoops, I just deleted my scene there. I guess I can't undo that. So what we're going to do is I'm going to create a new scene. I was meant to duplicate that, but for some reason I, put out the wrong thing here. So we'll go back. We'll do the intensity extreme shot. I got to do some quick editing really quick. I'll do the edit because you won't be able to hear me if I don't put in the audio. There we go. So now we're going to come back here. so there we are here. I'm going to duplicate this shot, and I'm going to go and edit this shot once again. And I'll show you what I'm doing here so you see what I'm doing. So in this shot, I'm just going to zoom it right back into where it was and maybe bring it up so I'm in frame and go from there. So now I have this is the full shot with the fisheye, and this is the zoom up shot with me. And don't delete your scenes because that can become a pain, especially if you use multiple layers and go from there. So as you can see, looks pretty good. Of course, I'm using external audio, so it's not going through the camera. But once again, if you're using a Blackmagic Intensity Pro like I do, you've got to go into your edit settings. You've got to go over to the audio and turn off. And that, actually, now I'm thinking about it, I might have to do that right now. And go into my audio. Yep. So I'm turning off the Intensity Extreme. Intensity Extreme. So you might have heard a double echo, one coming from the camera, one coming from me. And to do that, it's very straightforward. All you have to do is go to your scene. Oops, we'll do it to this one. I think they'll be able to see it there. You say change audio, and then there was a check mark right next to Intensity Extreme. I just unchecked it and said use the built-in audio and go from there. That's a pretty good feature, easy feature. It makes it quick, so if you forget about it, you can easily make that change and get to going, so you only have a couple seconds worth of audio that could have some echo or something like that into it. But you also have to be listening to it, which I'm not doing because of the latency latency that comes through the audio there. So basically that's it. We're using a GoPro, and once again, I could zoom this in a little bit more. And then I could use this really cool Motrr Galileo to move around. I can't do too much moving because, once again, the cable might pull out. You don't want that to happen, and go from there. But I could definitely zoom up. I could zoom down. I could zoom back and forth just for some basic movement, and go from there as I'm talking to you. And I can really slow this thing down, so it can just be moving at a snail's pace. And you don't really see it too much, but it's definitely doing it. And then I can speed it up a little bit, and you can see it move. And then, of course, we'll go the other way. And then I can speed it up and go from there. So, but bottom line, that is how it all works. Hooking up your GoPro. If you've got 2 or 3 camera sources, you can have the GoPro up in the rafters. If you get the right cable, I don't have the right HDMI converter cable because, like I said, it's blocking the power source. But if I can put on an external battery, I can have this thing run for about an hour, and even plug it in so I can run it for longer if I need to, and then pull from that source if I needed to at that point in time. So lots of cool things you can do with GoPros, and of course the close proximity. Once again, we've got this full shot. So if we've got a band or something like that, you could put that right in front of a singer or something like that and get a fuller shot, or just turn around and zoom it in on somebody and go from there. And I've got 2 scenes that you can use that will bring me back and forth and go from there. Once again, I'm going to show you what I use. The GoPro goes to the Blackmagic Intensity Extreme, which goes to my MacBook Pro. Very simple. Of course, this GoPro is $499. They have other versions of GoPro, which are $399, $299. And of course, you can get other adapters and stuff like that for the GoPro. You can check all that stuff out. Blackmagic Intensity Extreme Pro, which is the box I use to bring my HDMI in. Of course, if you've got another box out there, if you use one of the ATEMs or something like that, then you can hook that in. And then, of course, right into the computer and Wirecast and go from there. So that's it. That's this episode, how to actually hook up a GoPro camera as a source to your Wirecast and go from there. If you need to catch me, I'm Geekazine, Think Magazine, put in a geek. You can Twitter me over at Geekazine, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks, and of course, if you have any questions, let me know. We'll see you next time on another Wirecast 6 how-to.